everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fridays with Fran, and today we're going down to visit some of our pregnant Poll Dorset ewes that are due to give birth in a couple of weeks' time. Our Poll Dorset ewes are on a field on the exact opposite side of the farm and the farm park, so we have to head down the road and through the village to find their field. So our Dorset ewes are due to give birth over the October half term, so they'll be inside our animal barn then, but for now they're enjoying some grass out in the field. So this is a little road called the White Way that runs right down through the centre of the farm, a little single track road that gets very little traffic. We're often seen bringing big groups of sheep up and down the hill as we move them around the farm. On the farm park we also have quite a lot of woods, and so these are some of the woods that we go through. And if you're lucky enough to have a horse and you come on one of our fun rides that the horses go through all the woods. So one of the most beautiful parts about this trip down, and one of my favourite parts of the farm, is that at the bottom of the road is this huge ford with a lovely little Cotswold stone bridge, which is fine to drive through with a Polaris like this, but anything more, a car or anything, is going to get stuck in the middle. Well, I've got 2 minutes. I do just want to say sorry that we haven't had a video out every Friday, particularly over the summer. We did aim when we set out to do Fridays with Fran every Friday, going forward with the YouTube channel, but it hasn't quite worked out with that, with all the events going on at the farm park and it being particularly busy over summer, and then the added complication of COVID and short staff. We haven't managed to do Friday, so going forward we'll still release videos on a Friday, fitting with the name, but we can't promise it'll be every Friday, but we'll do our best to get it for most Fridays. So we're just walking out into our field, which should have 20 Poll Dorset ewes in it. It's a field with a slope, and at the moment I can't see a single sheep, so hopefully as we go over the brow of the hill we should find 20 pretty heavily pregnant fat Dorset sheep. They're really friendly, so it makes it quite hard to drive into the field. You can get up to them, but then they're very keen to follow you out again. Sometimes it's easier just to walk up the slope than argue with them on the gate on the main road trying to get back out again. So here they are, top of the hill, just where I thought they'd be. Come on, girls. No, they've still not heard me. So the Poll Dorset is one of just a handful of breeds in the UK that has the ability to lamb at any point in the year. So most of our UK breeds will come in season at this time of the year, where they want to meet up with the ram. After a 5-month gestation period, they give birth to their lambs in the spring. And that is great because that's when the weather's starting to warm up, the grass is starting to grow, and best for the lambs. But there is a handful of breeds in the UK, namely the Poll Dorset and the Portland, that can lamb at any time of the year. Now a few farmers will lamb their Dorset now in the autumn, and that means that you've got lamb ready for the table in the spring, and that's when no one else is selling lamb, and so you get a premium price. It's not for every farmer. It's going to cost you a lot more money to feed them, a lot more labour, because they're going to be little lambs over the winter, but there are a handful of farmers that use the Poll Dorset to do so. We have a few here on the farm and we do benefit from that market, but a big reason for us doing it in October is that you guys can come and see lambs at a different time of the year. So we do a handful in the October half term. They're all synchronised to give birth for the half term, which means our visitors can come and see them, not just in the springtime. Come on then. A lot of our Poll Dorsets were hand-reared. We bought them as bottle feeding lambs a few years ago, which means they are really tame. They know what a bag of food is, so they're very quick to arrive. So Dorset is easily identifiable. They normally have a little tuft of wool on their heads. These were shorn back in the spring, so May, June time. So they've got a short fleece, which is actually quite nice for lambing. It means they don't get too mucky. And they also have a beautiful little pink nose. So clearly identifiable like that. They are a meat breeder sheep, so they get quite big and chunky. But they're brilliant mothers and they produce lots of milk. So they are generally a good all-rounder. Okay, that's right. So if you've watched our episode we filmed pretty much exactly a year ago with these girls here, a few will have joined the flock, you'll know what the coloured spots mean on the sheep side. So if you did watch our video, then comment below and you can let everybody else know what the colours mean on the side of the sheep. Or if not, ask in the bottom or pop up to the farm park for half term and see them with their lambs. So with our springborn lambs, the grass is normally quite poor at that point in the year, so January, February, and we have to feed our sheep an awful lot more food during that period to make sure that the lambs are growing well inside. We have the opposite problem with the October-born lambs. The grass is generally quite lush at this time of the year. You get an autumn flush as the sun dies down, it's not quite so hot, so it's not baking the grass, the rain starts coming, so September time the grass is growing well, and so we actually don't want our lambs to grow too big. So these girls aren't on the best pasture on the farm, because we have learnt that we do end up with lambs that are very big and can get stuck. So they get a tiny bit of nuts, more just because I'm coming here to see them today, but their food is fairly restricted, keeping the lambs a reasonable size. When they move in the barn, we will split them up depending on how many lambs they're having, and then their food can be rationed the right way. So you might be able to see on some of them their udders, so that's where their milk comes from, between their back legs, if they do turn around from the camera, because they're quite inquisitive to look. And they're already just starting to fill up with milk, so that's a good sign that in a couple of weeks' time they'll be brimful with lots of milk, lots of colostrum, which is rich and full of antibodies to feed the lambs. So these girls sort of run as their own little flock throughout the year. As they do give birth at a different time, they're weaned at a different time from everybody else. And if anybody doesn't get pregnant to lamb in October, they then join the main flock and they get another chance to lamb in February. So there were 27 of these girls went to the ram just for one attempt to match for half term, and they were synchronised to all come in season on the first couple of days. So there were 7 of them that didn't get in lamb for that day, and so they've then gone back round and they're now running with the ram, and hopefully they should lamb in February time. So this one was definitely hand reared, both of these, which is why they are so tame and friendly. We originally bought our Poll Dorsets from a farmer down in Devon, and we bought his bottle-fed lambs, and you may well have bottle-fed them here at the farm park in previous years. So we bought October bottle-fed lambs from him. He's one of the top Dorset breeders, so he didn't want them. He had to feed an awful lot of milk for them, which cost him money, but we wanted bottle-fed lambs for visitors like you to come in and feed. So they arrived for that, and they've then grown up and joined the flock, but that's why they are so tame and friendly. These girls were all with the rams, and that was back in May time. Normally one ram can serve up to about 500 ewes, so they have a great big span. There are only 27 went to the ram, but we actually put a handful of rams in, and the reason for that is because they were all synchronised using hormones. We put a little hormone sponge in them, and we take it all out on the same day, and that means they all come into season on the same day. 27 in one day is quite a lot of work for one boy, so we put a handful out there, which means that we can guarantee that our sheep should be mated on that day. We don't end up with one chap getting too tired, or if one was infertile and one was working, we're still at risk of them not getting pregnant, so we put a handful of rams out just for that. Also, May time isn't the best breeding season for the rams. They're not quite in the mood. Dorset rams are a bit better, but their fertility won't be at full peak, so by putting a few out there, we should guarantee lambs for now. And as you can see, we've got pregnant sheep, so it's worked. So the girls will be moving into the animal barn by the 23rd of October, which is when they're due, and that'll be where they'll be having their lambs up at the farm park. So you'll be able to come and see them every day through October half term, and we'll be doing lambing talks as well several times a day to tell you all about what's going on and giving you all the details and the ins and outs of lambing and what to look for. And then hopefully we'll have lots of happy little lambs, and they'll be there in the barn and then out in the paddocks at the farm park right through till Christmas. Of course, through October half term we also have our pumpkin watching and pumpkin collecting down at our pumpkin patch, so you can come and see newborn lambs and collect your pumpkin while you're there. Girls are all looking great, which is brilliant, so join us for another episode. As I say, we can't guarantee it'll be next Friday, but we'll do our best for another episode, and if you can like and share and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic, and we'll see you next time.